Welcome to the Weba live workshop today, the 21st of April. My name is Richard Affolter and I'm the director of Weba. And today we will have a fantastic presentation of the University of Winchester from the United Kingdom. I can see that many agents are joining us now. So welcome everyone. Welcome to many of you who joined us in the last 2 years. It's always nice to welcome all of you to my workshops. Today we will have several presentations from the University of Winchester, but in the meantime, I would just want to say hello to my colleague Bajinder Rathur from London, UK. Hello Bajinder, how are you today?
Very good morning from London, Richard, and we are very glad to see you back. Of course, there was a halt for a couple of weeks, and now Richard is back, Weba is back, and we all are ready. The things are getting better here in London, in United Kingdom. There has been control. I mean, the variations are going in the rest of the part of the world, but as far as we are looking forward for the September session for Winchester University, and gradually, stepwise, we are opening up from May, from 23rd of June. We are expecting the complete opening of the lockdown and possibly the intakes and the income inflow of students from different part of the world will be welcomed in a UK, in Winchester, of course. And yes, we are looking for a wonderful presentation. And we got a few minutes before we switch on to David and his team. I think, Richard, you mentioned 2 years, but I will mention 33 years. Weba is there. And I mean, Weba has been facilitating universities, schools around the world and bringing up the workshops in every corner of the world. And you are doing fantastic job, Richard. And within last 1.5 years since the pandemic started, I think we have done more than 160 workshops, and this is the very big achievement. And you had kept the agents busy when everyone is struggling with how to figure out how to work around. But the way you conducted the workshops during this almost more than a year now, it has been a fantastic job. Yes, Richard, it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bajinder. Thank you for your nice note. Yes, unfortunately, I was not feeling too well. I had coronavirus myself as well. So I went through all what happened when you have a coronavirus. So 2 weeks, I was very sick, but now I'm feeling much better and I'm ready to restart. I restarted immediately yesterday because this is my life, is my world. So I'm loved to be here and to present my first presentation today from the University of Winchester. I can see that David Street, the head of international recruitment of the University of Winchester, is with us today already here. Hello, David. How are you?
Good morning, Richard. Good morning, everybody. Welcome from beautiful Winchester. So, yep, second workshop in 3 months with Weba. We're delighted to welcome so many new friends to the workshop this morning. I hope you guys have got some strong coffee with you because we're going to have 2 very packed hours of information about live study and working with the University of Winchester with our friends at Weba. So for the next 2 hours, as I said, a series of my colleagues here at the university, academic staff, international students, will guide you through the university, all supported, of course, most admirably by the excellent Baljinder and, of course, Richard, who will be answering questions as we go through, and who will be providing all the support we need to run this astonishing workshop again for all our new friends. So, Richard, we can't wait.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, David. First, before we start, I will ask everyone to remain on mute modality. This is always very important. And if you have any questions, just go below on the chat. There is a chat system below on Zoom, and put your question there on chat, and University of Winchester team will reply to you. We have all your details, so it's no need that you put your email address here because you register in order to attend. In the meantime, I welcome more and more agents. We are now reaching 81 agents from 27 different countries. So we're moving forward with the registration this morning. So again, please remain on mute modality. This is very, very important so that all the speakers will be able to give the presentation. I think the first presentation will be with Andy Blair. Is Andy available already?
I don't know that he's here yet. We said about 8:30 we thought Andy would be able to help us out with a few words from Winchester. So maybe, Richard, you could start by saying a few things about the structure of the workshop and the work the Weba's doing to work with Winchester with regards to the agents.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine for me. It's fine for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I will start with a short video from the University of Winchester so you can have an idea about the university. So let me share my screen first. Okay. So here we go. Very nice video, very, very nice video. And this is always nice when we can have an idea about the university. But what you saw here is students, happy students. I mean, at the end of the day, what we all want are happy students. And now we are all ready for the new September, new intake, and welcome all the students in the United Kingdom. We all hope that this COVID now will go away, and can start again in September. And this video shows us, it's more than a video, it's like a movie, it's a short movie to see how the students feel confident to study at the University of Winchester. So I know that, based on the information I know from David, that you have more than 80% of female students inside at the University of Winchester. So you're looking for boys. So very important, agents, when you start to recruit students for the University of Winchester, the university is looking for boys because there are many females study there, because it's a very nice place to go. They have fantastic accommodation. The campus is just located near the school, and they have a great opportunity for a different type of accommodation, which later on Nabil, David, and the team will explain. Now, what else we prepare for you? And I want to share a second before that we will start. Let me go out of this one. We prepare for you a brochure from the University of Winchester. We will share with you this brochure, which I think is very important. So this gives you an idea how to promote the school to your students. And this is a brochure which will help in you to promote to your network of students. You will find all the different information, and we will send this to you later on when the workshop is finished today, with all the details, which include all the different programs they offer at the University of Winchester, which they have bachelor, master program, and this will help as well to cooperate with the student, because the students today, they don't want to receive paper anymore. So this is, let's say, an online brochure, and this will help in you to promote the University of Winchester. All the agents who are with us today, they will receive as well an agreement. They will receive an agreement, so they will sign an agreement with Weba in order to promote the University of Winchester. We will hold every week from now on a training session in addition for the University of Winchester. So when you have some students and when you need to know some additional information, you can always come to our training session. For all the new agents who just join us, please remain on mute modality. I can see that some of you are not on mute modality, so I will just kindly ask you to remain on mute modality. This will help me to give the presentation and as well the staff of the University of Winchester. How it will work? We will start first with the first presentation from Mr. Andy Blair, which will start in a couple of minutes. And then after, we will have additional speaker, a team from David Street, who is with us today. And we will explain you in details on how that you will need to go in the new student route for 2021, basis on the new regulation from home office. And for this, Nabil Noor will explain us more in detail on this. So David, tell me a little bit, how is the situation in Winchester with the COVID at the moment?
Well, Richard, I'm glad you asked me. I feel embarrassed to say the UK generally, and Winchester in particular, is in a really strong position. The R rate is very low, the death rate is tiny, the hospital admissions are very low, amongst the lowest in the most in the world. So what we're finding is that the challenge we're going to face is not what's happening in the UK, the challenge is very much what's happening globally. It's not a question of can you come into the UK, it's can you leave your own country. So we've had a really strong rollout of vaccines in the UK. It's been widely accepted. There's a good system in place for managing the COVID here. So the university particularly is very mindful of this. So we are now doing our in-person teaching. Some of our students have been in person the whole time. But now from May onwards, all of our students will be in person again, which is wonderful. And we are planning for September a whole range of scenarios, from fully open, fully in-person teaching for everybody to, heaven forbid, another lockdown. But we're hoping, we're preparing for the worst and planning and hoping for the best and planning for the worst. So in Winchester, it's a very strong position, very law-abiding people in Winchester. So you will see face masks everywhere, social distancing everywhere. It's been a very difficult time for all of us, but Winchester, I have to say, the university in particular, has done extremely well.
How many students study at Winchester, more or less every year, to have an idea?
We've got about 9,000 students at the university. So we're a medium-sized British university. So we kind of like the idea of being medium-sized. And about 4,500 of our students are now back on campus and having in-person teaching. And the remaining 4,500, many are actually here, but they're waiting for in-person teaching until 17th of May, which is the government guidelines. So all of the practical courses, nursing, physiotherapy, social work, they're all obviously in-person teaching and always have been. Whereas the courses that can be done online, business, finance, accounting, the students are here, but they're having online teaching until the door opens again officially, and we're back in person on the 17th of May. But it's been a very measured, very controlled, very safe environment at Winchester.
I know that you have a lot of students coming from United States, from Norway, from Scandinavia. It is correct, David?
Yeah, I mean, during my presentation, I'll go through a little bit about where our students come from. And more importantly, for our wonderful friends joining us this morning, where we're hoping the new students will come from, because there are parts of the world where our numbers of students are growing, and we're going to need the support of your amazing network to push us further in those markets, particularly places like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Nigeria. Lots of fabulously well-qualified students who are desperate to come to British University. So during my presentation, I'll also introduce, Richard, my team to all your friends as well, because there's a team of us here at Winchester, as you know, and we all look at different parts of the world. So I'll explain a little bit about what I do, but also what my colleagues and the markets they look after.
Thank you very much. Thank you much, David. I think, Bajinder, maybe you can add a little bit about the new situation from immigration side before that we start with the first presentation from the University of Winchester.
Yes, of course, Richard, just I would say starting from the scratch. The first and foremost thing, as we know, we start from the application process itself. Every agent, we are giving them a link where they input the details of the application. Once we receive all those details, we input on the UCAS system. So before going towards the immigration, I'll just wish to brief about the application. Yes, we are receiving good application, and as just one question came regarding IELTS from Nigeria. IELTS for Winchester is compulsory, and I think Nabil will take in detail how the English requirement is in the later stage. But from my initial stage, if I say in the application process, the most important factor which usually sometimes we don't take care much about is about the personal statement. So what I request all the agents and further to brief their students to please make a good personal statement which should be the mirror image of the student themselves. I mean, most of the personal statements. So I did had a detailed session with Nabil, and I will be circulating one more YouTube video how to do the personal statement after this workshop. So most of the personal statement which we are receiving, they speak about UK, about university.
Bajinder, you have to reboot your voice.
Is it okay now?
Now it's okay.
Okay, but was you listening before which I was mentioning?
Yes. Just for 3 seconds, the voice was disappearing.
Okay, so what I was mentioning about personal statement is that in statement we are the agents or the students, they are mentioning about UK, about the University of Winchester. So the faculty here, they know about this. They want to know more about the student, their hobbies, their interests, their work experience, any volunteer experience, how they relate their studies, their experience, their voluntary appearances, any other hobbies which can relate them to the course they want to go. So please be more specific about the student themselves in the personal statement, due to which I think there has been some delays in offer letters because of the Easter holidays. But now I received a green light from David that yes, the Winchester University will be speeding up with the offer letters. We have been approached by agents in the delays, but I did mention because of the Easter holidays. But now everyone is fresh, and of course Richard is also. I mean, the good thing I won't say it's a good thing, but you was on the break during the Easter holiday itself. But as now we are back, so coming towards the immigration side, Richard, the good thing is from July this summer onwards, whosoever completes undergraduate or master degree in UK, they will be eligible for 2 years of post-study work visa. This is a good boost for international students. There was a downfall in international students for last few years in UK, but the UK government had decided to bring back this post-study work visa, which was there in place in 2012, 13, and it was taken off. But now, because this thing is back, so students from worldwide, they are most welcome. And when we talk about quality education, yes, Winchester, I mean, we had been visiting, and Winchester agents had visited the campus of Winchester as well. But the way David has also presented, we know the quality of education, and as a city, Winchester would be a very good destination for the students. And looking forward, and another thing I want to add here regarding immigration is once you complete your degree or you get your post-study work visa, now you got opportunity to switch into skilled worker visa. This was a new visa which commenced from January 2021. Initially, it was tier 2 work permit we used to call it, but now it is a skilled worker visa. And there are a lot of, when I say lot of, means is more than 100 job categories available within this skilled worker visa, which do segregate into different positions, maybe in business management, science, nursing, doctors, engineers, computers, IT, even I mean I would say hairdressers, butchers. So there's a very huge list. What I want to conclude here is that each and every student who will be completing their undergraduates or degree from Winchester University or the university within the UK, they will have the opportunity to switch to skilled worker visa so they can carry on working in the country, or they may go back home and pursue their career. So looking forward with immigration, yes, we are having positive signs. Before I go, Richard, once again, I want to stress on the personal statement. Please allow the students to do some research about UK and Winchester. Of course, you don't need to mention this in personal statement, but you should have more research on this, because at the time of visa interviews, when you talk about yourself, you should be aware about the course, about the faculty, about the university. So take some time, ask your students to do some research on University of Winchester before they go for visa interviews, and they should be aware of their own courses. And if possible, because I think the website of Winchester do have faculties as well, so they should have more research and homework done on the university and the faculties and the subjects they are going to do there before they go for visa interviews. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Bajinder. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will start in a minute with Andy Blair. I saw that Andy is already reaching with us today. But before of that, I want to remind everyone that Weba will send you after the workshop to all the agents who remain until the end a copy of the agent's agreement. So all the agents who just join us now at the moment, remember, you will receive at the end of the workshop a copy of the agent's agreement so that you will be eligible to start to recruit students for the University of Winchester. At the moment, we are reaching now about 100 agents, and this is an excellent news. I can see Andy. Hello, Andy. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm fine, fine. Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Thank you to be on board with us today and to start with the first presentation of the University of Winchester. You can start to share your screen if you wish.
I'm in the luxurious position this morning of not having any slides. My colleague David is going to take you through a nice visual representation of parts of the university, but it does fall to me to say good morning, or good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to a very sunny Winchester this morning. We are being blessed with good weather here in the UK at what has been a very difficult time across the world. And we're very pleased for you to join, particularly so many of you this morning. The University of Winchester has been through a rapid transformation over the course of the last 20 years. It has become an exceptionally popular institution, a middle-sized UK university with huge benefits based around its campus in the city of Winchester. Winchester is a city very much like Canterbury or York, if you've ever visited the UK before. It is steeped in history. It has been a seat of UK government and of royalty in previous history, and is an incredibly important location in the journey of the United Kingdom. So it is very well known to UK students, and the University of Winchester has been around for just over 120 years and was founded on the premise of educating people from backgrounds of all different types, and of course that now extends to people from all over the world. The last year has been extremely difficult for all of you, extremely difficult for all of us, and extremely difficult for our students and for future students in gaining confidence in continuing to come towards a higher education. And our purpose as an educator and as a provider of foundation of undergraduate and postgraduate education for the world has been to find a way of encouraging people to continue obviously their studies during this particular pandemic, but also to join a number of particular movements that are becoming increasingly important to young people. And I'm very proud that we're able to tell you that we are in the UK known as the University for Sustainability and Social Justice. And I feel that this morning, of all mornings, after the news that came out of America yesterday with the death of George Floyd and the conviction of his murderer, social justice has never been more prominent in the media, and never been more important alongside climate change for young people and for the future generations of students that we're hoping to attract. So we're in a very strong position at the moment. Our campus is extremely well provided for, and we recently opened a £50 million building last September, which has increased our capacity by a third on the site. We regularly end up in the top 50 UK universities for employability. We are regularly cited as the most desired place to live in the country, and David is going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But from my point of view, the benefit of an event like today is for us to extend and connect with people all over the world, and to help you to find the next generation of international students for a university whose ambitions worldwide are growing at an incredible rate. And probably nobody more important than this group of people right now to represent us when we can't represent ourselves. And I'm very grateful for you all stepping forward to join, at least in consideration, whether Winchester can provide a real route to higher education for students that you work with that is both valuable, timely, and ultimately maybe surprising to you in terms of what opportunities you might find with us. Our ambition over the next 10 years is to be a world-class university, highly recognized for teaching and for our values-led education, but we are developing very quickly in the areas of business and cybersecurity. We have a huge growth in our health and well-being areas as well. So we have a lot of opportunities that you can tie into now that maybe 5-10 years ago would have been less appealing both to you and to students more broadly because of the scale and size that we have that we were. Now we're up there with the major universities in the UK and rapidly growing. So I do encourage you to participate today. Thank you very much to those that have been part of the arrangements, and on behalf of the Vice-Chancellor, very welcome to the University of Winchester.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you very much for this introduction of the University of Winchester. We are all very pleased here to listen to you and to your team presentation. We are now reaching over 100 agents from over 45 different countries. So I will not mention all the country because I'm always sure that I will miss some of the country. So I think now we can move on with David. David, who will give the presentation. David, you can share your screen at the moment. You are more than welcome.
Thank you, Richard. That's very kind of you. And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the beautiful world of Winchester. And today is a very important day for two reasons. Firstly, you have joined us as friends of Winchester, and we're so happy to have you here. And we're going to go through some stuff about working with the University of Winchester. And secondly, on a personal note, it's an anniversary for me. Today is the 14th anniversary of me joining the University of Winchester. I've worked at 4 universities. They've all been lovely. This is the 4th, and I'm never leaving Winchester because my wife would kill me if we did. But I've been here 14 years. And that's important for our agents, because one thing the agents always ask for from universities is continuity. It's so frustrating as a partner of a university when the staff at international offices change every 5 minutes, and you've got to start again with your relationship with them. My colleagues and I have been working here for a number of years now. We're not stale, we're enthusiastic, but we are experienced at working with the University of Winchester and with you guys. Now, we're quite a small team. In my team, there's only 4 of us. I'm David Street. I'm the head of international. I'm responsible for a number of our markets. In my case, Norway and Japan and Hong Kong. My colleague Nabil, you'll be hearing from later on this morning. He's particularly responsible for the subcontinent, the Indian subcontinent, from Africa, the Middle East, the Gulf, the UK-based international students. My colleague Donna Rose, who'll be managing the conversation, the chat box this morning. She looks after the Americas for the University of Winchester, as well as most of the European Union. And my colleague Elton Zhang, who is currently in China, looks after China and Southeast Asia. So between the four of us, we are your international team. So we do a lot of listening at Winchester. And one of the things we're being asked by our partners all the time is to provide good quality information. So I'm going to briefly run through the University of Winchester from a perspective of an agent. So when I give a presentation to you guys about the university, it's the same presentation you'll give to your students and your counselors. So it's one tool, which is all you need to know, hopefully, about life, study, and applying to the University of Winchester. So we always start with 4 golden promises to all of our partners based on what our partners ask from us. Number 1, we will answer your emails quickly. There's nothing more frustrating as a partner when you're contacting a university to get nothing coming back. We know it's really important for communication. It might not always be good news, but it's really important that you get a good response from us quickly. We will, and Baljinder was very accurate on this one, where possible, make offers as quickly as possible. And it's a 2-way process. We can make offers quickly to our students if we have all the information we need. So when the application comes in via UCAS, it needs to be complete. We'll talk about IELTS a bit later on, but certainly as Baljinder says, the personal statement is really important, and that personal statement should be individual to that student. If we start getting applications with the same personal statement again and again from different students, it slows the process down because they have to go back to the student for a new personal statement. So if you help us with the information being accurate, we'll make offers quickly. We will pay our commission quickly. Business is business. Most important, we will look after your students. The only successful marketing is word of mouth. If your students have a good experience at the University of Winchester, it'll be easier for you to generate more students for Winchester. If they have a poor experience, no matter what we say, it'll be difficult for everybody. So we have an absolute responsibility, not just in business terms, but in humanitarian terms, to look after your students. And as Andy said in his excellent introduction, this has been an awful year for so many people. This is a time when we need more kindness in the world. So the university's commitment to social justice means that we will have an absolute golden promise to look after your students. So as Andy also mentioned, we're a values-driven university. These are our values: compassion and social justice, individuality and sustainability, spirituality. We are the University for Social Justice. You're not assessed on where you're from at Winchester, you're assessed on what you say and do. All our students are equal. But a lot of students say, okay, well, that sounds great. What are you doing about your values? For example, we do these wonderful things at Winchester to mean that our students are part of a society. You're sending students to the UK, they want to get a degree, they want more than a degree. They want a life-changing experience. So the rest of their lives, they're in a really strong position to contribute to society. We'll help them do that. So, the city of Winchester, where are we? Essentially, for those not familiar with the UK, in the south, in the middle. Winchester City is routinely rated as the best place to live in the UK. This is really important. If your students are comfortable and safe, your business will grow. If your students are not having a good experience, they'll come back to you and their parents will give you a hard time. You've had that experience, so have we. So Winchester being the best place to live in the UK is really important. The city itself, Andy mentioned this, we're about 70,000 people as a city. It's a medium-sized city. We all know that smaller cities are friendly than big cities, but it's not too small. It's a perfect size. It is officially the safest city in the UK. When you're talking to students about study abroad, once we've got past the issue of rankings and cost and all the important stuff, we get onto the really important stuff. There's nothing more important than the safety of your students. Their parents are trusting you to send their students abroad. If you're sending them to the safest city in the UK, it's not boring, it's just really safe. So when your students have left you to come to Winchester, you can relax. They'll be well looked after and they'll be safe. I'm sure many of you have had horror stories of students who've gone abroad to places that weren't safe and that damaged your reputation, that damaged your business. At Winchester, we want long-term relationships. So being in the safest city in the UK is a really important part of that relationship building. Andy mentioned it quite rightly. We are the old capital of England. London is the new capital. Winchester is the old capital. For those of you familiar with world history, when Xi'an was the capital of China, when Kyoto was the capital of Japan, we were the capital of England. So Winchester Cathedral, in the heart of our city, is where the early kings and queens were crowned and buried. So London for us is a modern new city. We are a cultural centre. It's also a rich city. So the shopping is fabulous. So for the Austrians with a bit more cash than most, the shopping is really, really good in Winchester. And it's only an hour to London. Our students tell us Winchester is the best of both worlds. It's close to London, but not too close. So London's on our doorstep. They can go there for shopping and sightseeing and meeting their friends. But when they come back to Winchester, it's quieter, it's safer, and it's cheaper. But it isn't the end of the world. It is only an hour to London. Winchester, the photograph behind me is Winchester, this beautiful, beautiful city. It is, and it looks like an ancient European capital, a medieval city, which is good because it's a medieval European city. But it's also a modern city. It's wealthy. The European headquarters of IBM are in Winchester. This is a really nice balance, this city, between the university, the city, and the history. Your students aren't just going to university. They're going to study abroad. And where they study matters. The university is astonishing, but the city itself is a big golden bubble. And we have very strong education traditions. Andy mentioned this in his presentation. We go back 180 years as a university. That's a long time. We know what we're doing. Your students are in safe hands. I mentioned Winchester being the safest city in the UK. It's also, importantly, the happiest city in the UK. And goodness knows, at this time, after COVID or during COVID, we could all do a little more happiness in our lives, I think. And the fact that Winchester is the happiest place in the UK, that's kind of good news for us, and it's very good news for you and your students. On all of these factors, well-being, life expectancy, money, low crime rate, essentially zero crime rate, health services, these are all important factors, and all of us value these things. Well, in Winchester, we have them as much as we like. The University of Winchester itself. Andy did this, but we are a public university. We're not a private university. We're not for profit. We are, like most British universities, a public university, publicly funded. We were established in 1840. We've done this a long time as a university. And we were recently shortlisted as University of the Year. I'll repeat that. We were recently shortlisted as the UK University of the Year.
Excellent, 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 David.
Thank you. We were shortlisted because of how we look after our students, how we teach our students. We believe in something called small group culture at Winchester. We may have lots of students on certain programs, but they're taught in small classes, so everybody has a voice. It's hard to do. It's important that we do it. We do it better than everybody else. That's why we got shortlisted. As I mentioned earlier, about 9,000 students at the University of Winchester. We're a medium-sized British university. We're not a factory with 30,000 students, and we're not a village with 20. About 9,000 students is medium-sized. About 10% of our students typically are international students. Now, at most universities in the UK, international means Chinese. We have a lovely group of Chinese students on the campus, but it isn't our biggest group. Our international students are truly diverse. Big groups of students from countries you might expect, like the US, but also very big groups of students from countries you might not expect, like Japan and Norway. 5 faculties at Winchester University, No engineering, no chemistry, no physics. What we do have are big faculties of the performing and liberal arts, the business faculty, which is a huge faculty here, education, health and well-being, we're going to hear from Hazel Brown a bit later on this morning, and social sciences. So we have a lot of what we call thinking programs, where the students are stretched and challenged and given vocational training courses. And as Richard mentioned, 80% of our students are women. All this means is the campus is calm, and as Richard so rightly said, please send boys. As a boy at Winchester, I am badly outnumbered. So if you can send a few more male students to Winchester, we'll be very happy to see them. But it does mean the university, again, is factor is safety. And I will repeat this. This is the safest university in the UK. Not just the city, but the university. When you send students to us, you're trusting us to look after them and protect them. This is a little bit easier when you're in the safest city and the safest university. I mentioned just now about small group culture. International students tend to be quite shy. And in a large group environment, if the academic says, what do you guys think? It's unlikely an international student would say, this is my opinion. Or if they're struggling in the program, to ask for help. That's not what international students do. And they struggle and they drown and we don't see them. But at Winchester, we do. Small group culture means everybody has a voice. It also means when your students come to Winchester, if in the unlikely event that they're struggling, the academic will see there's an issue and say, let's go for a coffee. Let's pull this student through, because the success of your students is critical. If you send students abroad and they don't complete their programs, that's bad news for everybody, for the university, for you, for your business, and particularly for that student and their parents. By having small group culture, it means our success rate is very high. One of our students once said that being a student at Winchester is like going to the circus on the high wire act. In most universities, the student on the high wire, they fall, no one sees them, no one catches them. At Winchester, there's a big net. Our small group culture means if a student needs help, we're there to provide it. We will get your students through the programs. So why would your student join the University of Winchester? Number one reason, and I'll repeat this as many times as I can, that small group culture means your students are treated with respect as individuals and they're geared for success. We have tremendous links to industry and the professions. The days of a degree program being 3 years, sat in a classroom, reading out a book, long gone. At Winchester, industrial placements, links with professions, vocational training, making sure the degrees we're offering are contemporary and appropriate for the world around us. So we insist our academic staff must have strong and vibrant links to industry and the professions, all our programs. Internships. Visa regulations allowing, we offer internships to international, to domestic students, to give them opportunities to learn and study beyond the walls of the university. Work placements in some of the vocational programs, getting students who are doing physiotherapy, nursing into the workplace is really, really important. Winchester, I mentioned earlier, is a big golden bubble of a place. The social environment here is amazing. It's welcoming, it's liberal, it's structured, and it's professional. This is a really attractive place to be a student, to feel supported, but to be successful. We offer that because the social environment here lends itself is exactly what the students are looking for. And there's a huge amount of student support. Being a student is hard. For those of us who went to university, we remember it's hard being a student. When you're sending students to us, you need to know, are we going to look after your students? Yes, we will. A lot of our activity takes place when the students get here. The easy part, in a way, is getting a student into the university. The tricky part is supporting them when they're here. High quality teaching. Winchester University ranked top 20 for teaching in the UK. We are really good at this. All the metrics for the university, But what your students are looking for rankings are all in our favor here. High quality teaching, it's a given at Winchester. It's not an unusual occurrence, it's regular. Oops, beg your pardon, let's carry on here. Where are we? I do apologize here, everybody.
No problem, David. We are still
now,
back.
Richard and Andy both mentioned the fact that we just spent £50 million on a new part of our campus, the West Downs campus. So for those students lucky enough to be doing cybersecurity, forensics, business, accounting, marketing, this is their part of our campus. And because of COVID, we've been using it sparingly this year. So essentially, the students who join us this September, all things being equal, for courses in business and cybersecurity, this is where they'll be going. And they'll essentially be the first students in there because it's not been used much this year because of COVID. What an astonishing facility. Because if they're paying all these tuition fees to study abroad, they're expecting high quality facilities. Well, Winchester has the most modern teaching facility in the UK, this one. So this is an attractive place. And the campus itself is lovely, but this is particularly lovely. Now, when the students are here, they're going to want to do things other than study. They'll want to study, of course. We're looking for an 80-20 split. 80% academic study, 20% being a student. So we encourage your students to join clubs and societies to make the most of their time. The reason they've chosen a British university is to be a British university student and to make friends with British students. So by joining some of these clubs and societies, they can do these things. So study must come first. But equally, it's important to have opportunities to make friends, to follow their passions and pursuits beyond their academic programs. Now, undergraduate programs, 3-year degrees at Winchester University. As you can see, the A to Z list, Richard mentioned very kindly, he's going to send through the brochure, which we just produced now for next year, listing all the programs. But as an essential A to Z, the website is critical. But this list of programs will tell you all you need to know about Winchester. Arts, education, business, social sciences, health and well-being. They're all modular programs. A lot of courses under the same banner, so 7 different psychology courses, 5 different digital courses, all linked together. Now, in the good old days, every student was assessed by exams. That was always unfair on the international students because the exams were always in English. At Winchester, we believe that continual assessment of your students is more appropriate. So all the work they do from day one is assessed. Your students will give presentations. All of us in our work, whether we're agents or university staff or whatever we do, have to give presentations. So the students will learn how to give presentations. They'll learn how to work as part of a team. They'll learn communication skills. Whether the degree is English literature or psychology or dance or physiotherapy or business, they will all learn these key transferable skills at the University of Winchester. Because when they graduated from us, as Baljinder says quite rightly, they're going to want to get a job. And if they have these key skills at Winchester, getting a job just got a lot easier. To repay that bank loan they took out to be a student at the University of Winchester, we're going to give them the tools they need to get a job. So we will have them working as part of a small team. We'll have them working on their communication skills. They'll write assignments as students, of course they will. And those who do courses like accounting with external validation programs, where there's insistent exams, will do exams still. But where those courses don't need exams, we'll do it by presentations and continual assessment. Postgraduate, master's courses, in the main, 1 year, full-time, September to September. Most of these courses are in a pyramid. So the undergraduate courses lead to postgraduate courses. So some students do an MSc, which is a 4-year course, which is 3-year undergraduate, 1 year postgraduate. Most of your students are looking at 1-year postgraduate courses. In the US, of course, it's 2 years. In mainland Europe, it's 2 years. In Britain, in Winchester, it's 1. It's intensive, it's hard work, but these are our courses, 1-year postgraduate courses. Now, while we'd love you to send your students a whole range of courses at Winchester, we're not foolish, and we know which of our courses are the most attractive, generally, and the most attractive to the market that you as agents represent. And these courses are the MBA. The MBA course at the University of Winchester is for students with a first degree, but they don't need to have any work experience. This is very important. Many students want an MBA, and we do have an MBA, an executive MBA for work professionals, but this MBA is essentially for students with a first degree in any subject. It doesn't have to be business. And there are scholarships available for the MBA for the best qualified students. So students with a good first degree and a good Ielts score can qualify for a £3,000 scholarship, which is taken off their tuition fees. This makes it attractive. So when you contact Baljinder and Richard about working with Richard Winchester, this is one of the key programs you'll be looking at.
David, just want to add here is we did receive the application for MBA, and Nabil mentioned that it should be 6.5 IELTS if you need this 3,000 scholarship. So 6.5. Yeah.
Absolutely right. Yes. So that's, as I said, so the better qualified students get a scholarship. It drives students to apply if they've got good English. And IELTS obviously is very important here. We also offer an MSc in International Business, which again, unlike the MBA, doesn't have the high tuition fees, but is a more general business course. Cybersecurity, one of the most hot programs at the University of Winchester, the MSc in Cybersecurity, 1 year, full-time. Again, while students don't always need a first degree in a related subject, it's likely they will do. So computer science and forensics. Digital marketing, those students who want to get involved in contemporary programs to do with online activity and promotion will apply for the MSc in Digital Marketing course. Global health, what could be better at the moment than a university than an MSc in Global Health? And we've seen a massive spike in applications for this year. And you don't need telling why. Because a lot of students have a passion for global health, but also they're very smart. And they're thinking, in a couple of years' time, what's the growth area going to be in industry? And we've all learned very quickly over the last year, one of them is global health. So a lot of the smart students are thinking, I want to get skills and qualifications in an area that makes me massively employable. Entry requirements generally for these courses are an IELTS of 6 with a 5.5 in everything and a first degree. But our website is really, really good. But also on our website, we have an international page for international qualifications and equivalencies. They've recently been updated and amended. So whichever market you're working in, I recommend strongly you go onto the Winchester website, have a look at the entry requirements by country, just to get a sense of what we're asking for as a guide. And the entry requirements are always a guide. Every application is individual. Baljinder works so hard with all our Weba partners to make sure that the applications are appropriate. And he will talk to you about what that qualification means and what flexibility there may be in the system. We have to get your students here. There's absolutely no point in you sending students abroad if they don't graduate, if they drop out or fail. So at the start of a process of bringing your students to Winchester, all our thinking is about one thing. How can we get your students here? We want them in a year's time or 3 years' time to be in the cathedral in their gown and cap with their parents graduating. It's a journey. The journey starts with the first contact with your office. It can continue through the application process to Baljinder, Richard, and me, and Nabil, and the rest of my colleagues. And it doesn't complete with us until the students have graduated and are working. It's a journey. Now, a lot of international students worry that when they're going to study abroad, are they going to be good enough? Well, we say at Winchester, you don't have to be a world champion student to be a student at Winchester. However, we do have world champion students at Winchester. This is Takeshi Matsura, one of our Japanese students, and he, in fact, is the world yo-yo freestyle champion. He's an exception, but he is just, in many ways, another Winchester student. He's not a Japanese student at Winchester. He's a Winchester student from Japan. This is a very important distinction. We joke, but we're not joking. We don't have Indian students at Winchester. We have Winchester students who come from India. What makes them unique is their personality. They're not assessed by being a Chinese or an Indian or a Japanese student. They're assessed on what they say and do. So Takeshi-san here is a world champion. He is a Japanese student. But what makes him most important, especially for us, is that he's a Winchester student. Housing. Andy mentioned this. Richard mentioned this. The housing at Winchester is really, really important, and it's lovely. We guarantee housing for international students. I'm going to repeat that. When your students apply to us and get a place here, we guarantee housing. The way we do it is most of our students get a single room with their own bathroom, and they'll share a kitchen with 4 or 5 other students. And those other students would typically be British students. We don't have international housing, we have student housing. And we think it's really important to mix students together. So we'll mix international and British students because that's what the students come in for. If we put 7 Bangladeshi students together, it's a Bangladeshi flat, not a Winchester flat. So we'll mix students together. So we offer them 2 choices, female only or mixed. And so the female only housing is female only housing. The mixed housing will be a few ladies and a few gentlemen. There's no boys only housing for 2 reasons. Firstly, not enough boys. We haven't got enough boys at Winchester. Secondly, if 7 boys share a kitchen, you can imagine how the kitchen looks. So we like the idea of mixed housing, but we work to make sure the students are comfortable in their houses. So in the 2nd and 3rd years, they'll get their friends and they'll rent a house, often from us in Winchester. But the housing is on campus. We're not one of those universities that has the teaching in one part of the city and the housing in a different part of the city. Winchester, the housing, the university housing is in the campus. This is important for safety, important for communication, and it makes the students feel part of a community. Wi-Fi. This last year has taught us many things, and one of them is strong, frequent broadband access is critical. We've all had moments in the last year when our Wi-Fi has failed and has left us blind and helpless. Our students cannot be in that position, so we make sure the IT systems here are astonishing. We also have family accommodation. Every year we get international students coming with family, a spouse and children. That's fine. The fact they have a spouse and children coming with them, if the visas allow, we're going to be fine. We also help students with finding housing. If they want to live off campus, fine, we'll help them with that as well. We also have full-time wardens on duty. So if they are on campus, if anything does happen, there's help and support available to them. And 24-hour security. The fact that this is the safest city in the UK, the safest university in the UK, doesn't mean we take security lightly. So we're going to make sure your students are protected at all times. This is our housing. It's beautiful. It's modern, it's green, it's sustainable, it's on campus, and it is absolutely lovely. It's also appropriate for students. The rooms are big, the beds are large, they're all en suite. It's really comfortable. I can't do a presentation without talking about COVID. It's been the most important thing in our lives for the last year. So, in September last year, we opened as usual. The campus was open as usual. No lockdown in the UK. Last September, everyone came in, made their friends, started their programs. And for September 2021, we intend to do the same again. Of course, the university is COVID secure, and social distancing, and masks, and sanitizer stations, and all the things we've come to learn as the new normal. But because Winchester is a special place, and the students have been amazing at following the regulations, the incidence of COVID on the campus has been tiny. Less than 150 students out of 9,000 over the last year have tested positive. And we're a testing station. Our sports hall is currently a testing station. Students on campus get tested twice a week. Staff, like me, get tested twice a week. So we are really on top of this. So we can't make promises for the world at large. We don't know what's going to happen with the double spike in India, but we do know that Winchester is doing everything it can to make the campus as COVID secure as possible. So we put into place measures, and we are putting more measures in place to keep your students safe. But it has to be business as usual. We can't let COVID dominate our lives. we must remember your students are coming here for a 3-year or 1-year program of academic study and building friendships and relationships. They will do all of those things in a COVID environment, but it's business as usual for the university. And so, of course, we have, where possible, online teaching or in-person teaching, and we're following government guidelines. If the government tell us to change our system, we'll change our system. But wherever possible, we're doing in-person teaching to give your students value for money. They didn't pay all this money to study abroad, to stay at home and learn online. So at Winchester, where possible, they're on campus with us. And touch wood, in September, it'll be the same again. Now, we can't legislate for what will happen elsewhere, but in the UK generally, and Winchester in particular, it's been well managed. So, international support for your amazing students. Well, this is where my team, Nabil will do this at length and a little bit on this morning, and Baljinder, of course, visas and CAS statements. We are massively experienced with this. So's Baljinder. For us, it's Nabil. And so we know what we're doing. So we'll take you and your students through visas and CAS statements. And Nabil will give a masterclass later on this morning about the visa process, the new student visa route. We offer an airport pickup service for international students when they arrive. This year, on the 11th of September, Saturday, into Heathrow, we'll be there to meet them. We always are. So when you put your students, or their parents put them on the plane in Islamabad or Delhi or Jaipur or Beijing or New York, the next face they're going to see when they arrive through immigration security would be our own staff, our own students, to pick them up and bring them safely to Winchester. There's a large orientation registration program at the start of every year. This is their chance to meet their academic colleagues, to meet their staff members, to make friends, to get their timetable, to feel part of the Winchester family. And it's critical that first couple of weeks goes smoothly. So most of the registration process takes place online. Of course it does. To minimize the time they spend in queues and maximize the time they have to learn about their new relationship with their colleagues, the staff, and their programs. There's a big international welcome. When international students come to Winchester, they're Winchester students, but a couple of times there'll be international students, and one of them is the Welcome Week. And so international students will have everything we do for the British students and additional stuff as international students to welcome them as international students to the University of Winchester. We have a team of international ambassadors drawn from all over the world who are students at Winchester, but they will also be there to welcome the new students. And they help us with our recruitment, because if you as agents have got students who have applied to Winchester already this year, your students are hearing from people like me, Nabil, Donna and Elton all the time, but they'll also be hearing from our own international ambassadors, students at Winchester who will talk to students at Winchester about life and study. And you're going to meet 4 of them later on this morning who are going to talk about their experience of life and study at Winchester. English language training. A lot of international students, English is far better than mine, not difficult to be honest, but some struggle and want support. We offer free in-sessional language support. So if students come to us to do a master's course or an undergraduate course and they want support, reading, writing, speaking, listening, fine. They can do that with the university. They can do it online, they can do it in person. We also offer study skills support. If the students want help in writing an assignment or giving a presentation, we'll do that again for free. And lots of information before they join us and when they join us on the health service, their health and well-being, advice and guidance, how to be a student at the University of Winchester, what to pack, what to bring with them, how to deal with culture shock. And almost finally, for this year, the entry requirements and fees. So, for most of our undergraduate courses, we're asking, well, actually it's 5.5 in IELTS, but some courses it's 6 or higher, but typically 5.5 in IELTS. Now, with the reason we ask for IELTS, and Nabil will cover this in his presentation, it's less about us, it's more about a visa. There's no point a student getting a place at university if they can't then get a visa. So if they can meet our requirements and the visa requirements in one go, everyone's life is much easier, particularly yours. So by asking for IELTS, it means we can all relax. When they get the IELTS score, they've met a key condition of the visa and one of our entry requirements as well. Postgraduate, IELTS, similar again. In most cases, there are a few courses, journalism, for example, nursing, where the IELTS requirement is higher, obviously, but generally it's mid-range. We'll ask about the academic background, we'll ask for references, and Baljinder was excellent on this morning, the personal statement. The personal statement is like a job application. This is where the student tells us why they've chosen us. We don't want to hear about our university, we know about our university. We want to know why they've chosen their program at Winchester. And the personal statement must be individual to that student. It can't be a template copy and paste exercise where 15 students from the same agent have the same personal statement. It must be that student telling us why they've applied for that course at Winchester. And the more we know about why they've applied, the easier it is to say yes to the student. It doesn't have to be 3 pages. It could be a couple of paragraphs. In fact, the shorter the better sometimes, but it must be individual. And Baljinder works so hard with our partners on this point. So we're looking for undergraduate entry and postgraduate entry requirements for English, an academic background that should be suitable, and our website is excellent here, a reference or 2, and the personal statement. Because students apply through UCAS, they must provide those things anyway, and we get them together. Fees. Well, here's the good news, everybody. We've pitched the fees at the point where we're a mid-ranking university, so the fees are mid-ranking to maximize your commission payments, hooray, but equally not too expensive for the university to make it unaffordable. So typically, the undergraduate fees are around £13,500 per year. Postgraduate, around the same. Some courses are higher. Please check the website for the information, because every course page on our website lists what the tuition fees are. And the tuition fees can be paid in installments. They don't have to be paid in one go. Housing fees. We're not London. London is cripplingly expensive. Winchester is beautiful, but not so expensive. This is important because worse thing for a student running out of money. Our housing, we've got lovely accommodation, but it won't break the bank. Living costs, I repeat, we're not in London. So living costs here are actually quite attractive, depending on lifestyle. If a student wants champagne breakfasts, they'll spend a lot more than this every year. But if their lifestyle is typically modest, like most students, £4,000 a year will probably cover most of their stuff. We reckon, therefore, about £22,000 a year will cover everything. Now, you know, as experienced agents, the financial circumstances of your students. If the first question is, without a scholarship, I can't study abroad, it's going to be tough for them. But you know better than we do the circumstances of your students. I wish, and you wish, it was a meritocracy, and that anyone who had the grades could study abroad. But in the real world, we know that's not true. So when the students apply for a visa, and the bill will say this again this morning, we're looking to make sure they have the academic background, the English, and they're going to have to show finance. You know that, and we know that. So the process for Winchester is actually very straightforward. They'll contact you. They'll apply through UCAS with your help. You'll let us know they're applying for UCAS. They're flagged as one of your students. They get a place, hooray. And then there's assistance with the application, with the visa. They register, and then you get your commission. It couldn't be simpler. We tried to make the process as simple as we can, because we know if the process is simple, life is simple too. That all makes sense. So what I tend to do now is to leave it there, and so I'll stop sharing my screen. So Richard, you can ask anything I may have missed, and then we'll invite Professor Charles to say a few words on his faculty. But before he does that, are there any questions?
Yeah, David, just you mentioned about 6.0 IELTS regarding undergraduates. In our previous meeting, you mentioned about the 0 year.
Yeah, we have an international foundation program, and we have the foundation year 0, 2 different things. from all of our 3-year degree programs, there's an additional year 0 for students who haven't got the academic ability to do year 1. So they would do a year 0, but they'll still need an IELTS of 5.5. But we also offer an international foundation program. And this is a standalone 1-year course for students who need English language training as well as academic study. And for them, the IELTS requirement is 4.5.
Yeah, this is very important because we recently received an application where the IELTS wasn't 5.5 in each module, so 5 and 4, and Nabil did suggested this 1 year of foundation, so they can come for a 1 year and then they go for 3 years. So this is an excellent, I would say, opportunity for students who are not able to get 5.5. Yeah.
And we also, of course, have pre-sessional programs like all universities. Now, this year, our pre-sessional will be online, because they need to do it online because they can't be on campus in the summer. They'll do the pre-sessional online. It'll start in July and they'll finish at the end or middle of August, allowing them time to get their visa to come and join us in September. So students with English language is slightly below the level they need can do an online pre-sessional. But because that course will start in early July, I would encourage you as agents, if you have students who want to come this September to Winchester University, whose English is not strong, to take an IELTS test as soon as possible. Because if they leave it too late for an IELTS test, they're going to find that the centres are booked, and by the time they get the result, they won't have a chance to register for the pre-sessional programme. Some students, bless them, think the longer they leave an IELTS test, the higher their score will be. It doesn't work like that. The IELTS test is a diagnostic tool. So once we have an IELTS test, Nabil, who's a super expert on these, will look at it and go, okay, I know what they need to do to get onto the programs. Yeah?
David, sorry, Richard. I want to address a few things at the same time. The fees, installments, and deposits, will you mention or Nabil will be mentioning?
Well, Nabil will mention it in his presentation, but I'll briefly to tell you, students are expected to show the finance when they apply for a visa, and Nabil will cover this. But when students do come to Winchester, they can apply to pay their fees in 2 installments. The first half of registration, the second half in the new year. But they must contact us ahead of registration to confirm that with us. They can't just turn up and expect to pay in 2 installments. We routinely say, yes, that's okay, but we ask them to let us know first. So you as agents are responsible for making sure the communication between your students and Weba and the University of Winchester is as strong as possible. Yeah.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Bajinder. So, ladies and gentlemen, all the new agents who just joined us at the moment, we are now 115 agents from over 58 different countries. Very important, at the end of this event today, for all the agents who remain until the end, we will send a copy of the agent's agreement by email and a copy of the presentation which was made today. So we will record this presentation, we will put this on YouTube, and we will send you the link plus the agent's agreement in order for you to sign and send back to us. So now I think we start to welcome Professor Alec Charles. Hello.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. On a beautiful sunny day in Winchester.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So we already started a couple of hours ago with the presentation, and David Street give us a very intense presentation now, and all the agents who are here with us today are listening to all the news about the University of Winchester. So Professor Charles, if you want to give a presentation, you can share your screen now, or it's up to you how that you want to introduce yourself.
That's great. I will try sharing my screen. I'm afraid I've never done this before on
no problem
on Zoom. So am I doing
below? There is the green button, and you just click share screen. And for all the agents who are with us today, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to put your question on the chat system below. Below is the chat system. Just put your question there so that the team of the University of Winchester will be able to respond to.
Richard, Alec, I've got your presentation on my screen.
Thank you. Could you? Because
Alec?
Yeah, it's refusing to share.
Well, if I share my screen, I'll be your glamorous assistant, Alec.
If you
do your
could, thank
presentation.
you very much.
I'll do the slides.
Thank you. If you just flick through them at about the rate you think.
Okay, just a second. We are. Let's bring it up.
So we are all live here, ladies and gentlemen. We have now a next presentation from Professor Charles.
Thank you very much. So I think that's now up on screen. The Faculty of Arts at the University of Winchester is one of the older faculties at the university. We have about 1,500 students across the faculty, a mixture of British, European and international students. And these are my details. Please don't hesitate to get in contact with me if ever you wish to. We have 3 departments in the faculty: English and Creative Writing, Performing Arts and Media and Film. Our arts, as we teach them, are therefore very much based on contemporary employability needs. Our Department of English and Creative Writing focuses on creative writing, English language and English literature. Our School of Performing Arts, acting, drama, dance, musical theatre and theatre production. I'll go into these in more detail in a minute. And our School of Media and Film, film, advertising and public relations, journalism and media and communication. So if I could have the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit more about the Department of English and Creative Writing. One of the things that's very exciting about Winchester is that it's quite literally the birthplace of the English language. Winchester was the first city of England, generally recognized as the first king of England was King Alfred the Great, some 1,200, 300 years ago. King Alfred was the one who consolidated so-called Anglo-Saxon power, created the beginnings of modern England, and therefore created the beginnings of modern English. He was not only a great king, he was also a great scholar king. And we think of Winchester as literally the birthplace of English. Therefore, it's very exciting to have within my faculty a Department of English and Creative Writing. We specialize at bachelor's level in creative writing, English language and English literature, also offering creative and professional writing. Just had a request that the PowerPoint be sent. Yeah, I've already shared the PowerPoint with David and said I'd be very happy for him to share it with everyone. We also offer at master's level creative writing and English literature. As you can imagine, English literature in a place which is not only the birthplace of the English language, but which is also famous for having such writers as John Keats and Thomas Hardy write here and set their work here. And also Jane Austen is buried in the cathedral here. English literature, it's a very, very exciting place to study English literature. A lot of English literature history is here. So if you can move on to our Department of our School of Performing Arts. We offer acting, drama, dance, musical theatre and theatre production. These are what we call in England very much, for the most part, conservatoire style programs, very much based on practical performance skills. Lots and lots of contact time the students get, up to about 20 hours a week on acting or musical theatre. On musical theatre, they learn acting, singing and dance, and these are very, very popular programs indeed. We also offer at master's level, there are masters in cultural and arts management. This is particularly popular with international applicants because it allows people to transfer those performance and creative skills into a set of business and management skills. Next, we have our largest area, the School of Media and Film. This specializes in film, which includes both film studies and film production. We also have creative advertising and public relations and journalism for those students who want to take that kind of media creativity into a more directly commercial route. We offer a number of very popular programs in music production and performance, focusing on commercial music and popular music. We offer a range of programs in media and communication, which are mainly theoretical, but have some practical elements. This is a very, very popular suite, and of course is very internationally well known as a subject area. And finally, we have journalism. We offer straight journalism, but we also offer at undergraduate level sports, fashion, music, and entertainment journalism. This area has been growing very significantly over the last couple of years. In addition to these kind of core programs, students can also combine programs. These are our more popular combinations. We don't offer combinations of everything, but these ones prove popular. So you can do creative writing and drama, or English literature, drama and English literature, drama, creative writing, English literature and English language, English literature and film, linguistics and forensic linguistics. We also, David mentioned earlier that we offer foundation years for students who don't necessarily have the academic level for entry, and we offer those in creative writing, drama, English literature, film production, and media and communication. If we could then move on. So those are what we offer in the faculty. I want to give you though more a bit of a sense of a feel for the faculty. Being in Winchester, we're very nicely close to London. It's an hour on the train to the centre of London. But we also, because of the nature of the city, are something of a cultural and arts hotspot in the region. And we have partnerships with a number of arts organisations where our students get placements, our students do projects with, our students may perform with and produce with. These are some of the arts organisations with which we have formal long-term partnerships. I want to talk about a few of those in particular. So if we move on to some of these. This is the Theatre Royal in Winchester, a major regional theatre venue. We have a long-term partnership with them. We are officially classed as their investing partner, which is the biggest non-governmental partner that they have. We would stage under normal non-COVID circumstances about half a dozen shows there each year. Under COVID circumstances, it's been very difficult. I'm very pleased to say that next month on the 19th of May, we've scheduled our first post-COVID public theatre show there. So that's very exciting for us again. If we can then move on to look at just an example of one of the shows we did. As I mentioned, John Keats, the great English romantic poet, wrote one of his greatest poems, his Ode to Autumn, in Winchester in September 1819. To celebrate that, we held a very major event at the Theatre Royal to celebrate the 200th anniversary of that a year and a half ago. And this event, like many of the events that we have, are done not just with our students, but in collaboration with a number of regional arts organisations who we continue to work with very closely. We can move on to the next slide, David, please. We do a number of broad collaborations. One of the things we're particularly interested in our collaborative work is climate change, or rather the fight against climate change. We are this year doing as an online production, previously for the last 2 years have done as a stage production, a series of plays called Climate for Change, written by our creative writing students, produced by our theatre production students, performed and directed by our performing arts students, in which we explore the problems, the environmental problems the world is currently facing. We were a finalist in the International Green Gown Awards for this a couple of years ago, and indeed won a UK Green Gown Award for this. We also have collaborations which look, for example, with the Hampshire Chronicle, the regional newspaper, which look at the environment in journalistic terms, and the EcoStar project, which we recently did, is one such example. Just move on from that. We also have a partnership with a theatre called The Point in Eastleigh, which is 10 minutes by train down from Winchester. We have this particular partnership in the area of dance because it's a nationally and internationally known dance venue, and this is where we put on our big public dance shows each year. Next, I'd like to mention probably the biggest cultural event that Winchester has. It's called the Hat Fair. It's the UK's longest continuing running, or was until COVID, because it didn't happen last year, but it is happening this year. It was, up until COVID, the UK's longest continuing running open outdoor performing arts festival. It attracts performers and visitors from all over the world. We have a large long-term partnership with this organization. Each year, our students have an area of this arts festival in which they put on their own performances. The public vote on which is the best performance, and the best performance receives a properly funded professional commission for the following year's Hat Fair. Next, I'd just like to mention the Winchester Film Festival. The Winchester Film Festival started some years ago as quite a small film festival. It's now become quite an increasingly well-known international film festival. We have a long-term partnership with the film festival. Our students get to enter their own films for free into the festival. We organize ourselves part of the festival and host some of the events of the festival. And we are very, very much looking forward to the next iteration of the festival, which will happen this autumn. It's a very, very important partnership for our media and film students, many of whom are involved in the organization of it. We also are part of the Winchester Poetry Festival, again, a growing international festival. It gets people from all over the world coming to it. Under COVID, it's working this year as a mix of virtual and in-person events. Again, we have a close partnership with this organization, indeed so close that we give them office space. So the Winchester Poetry Festival's office is within our faculty. It's very exciting to have them there, and it's a great, great opportunity for our literature, language, and creative writing students to be involved. We also have a very close partnership with a theatre company called Blue Apple. Again, Blue Apple is based on our campus. It's based with us. Their office is right next door to mine. They're an internationally known theatre company which specializes in working with casts, exclusively casts of people with learning disabilities. So our students get to work with these absolutely fantastic performers, some of whom are increasingly well-known actors, certainly on British television. And by having this theatre company as our artists in residence, it's a great opportunity for film students, for media students, for journalism students, for creative writing students, for drama, acting, dance, and musical theatre students. Next, I'd just like to quickly just show you briefly what we do in a normal year. COVID year, of course, has been slightly different, but this was our program of public cultural events for academic year 1920. It was slightly curtailed, as you can imagine, by COVID, but as you can see, we have very large numbers of public engagement events. It's hugely important for our students in terms of building up their portfolios that they are involved in public events. Those events include performance events, production events, screenings, but they also include research events, so our students can publicly demonstrate their research. We also have, again, we'll be coming back shortly, a series of rather fun events we do once a month in a popular local pub, a local bar. We get for free the upstairs of the bar, and on a monthly basis, we have for our students and members of the public informal research events that they can come along to. We also have on a weekly basis during term time research symposia and presentations, but this is kind of a more fun thing that we do, that we involve both our students and members of the public. It's very useful for them in terms of networking, because we often get some quite high profile regional cultural figures coming along to these. I'd also like to tell you a bit about some of our other friends and guests and facilities. Here we have a number of people we've worked with recently. Our journalism lecturer, Angus Scott, who's quite a well-known international broadcaster, sports broadcaster, working there with John Barnes, who is certainly from a British perspective, a very, very well-known former international football player. John has visited the campus. There's one of Britain's best-known news readers, news anchors, Alistair Stewart, opening our news studios. And there's a band called Alt J, very popular young band, very well known in Britain, multi-prize winner, who also came along to open our music studio. So perhaps I could show you some pictures of some of our facilities to finish up with. But before I get there, I'm sorry, I've forgotten that slide, just to show you just some of the recent research publications from some of our staff. Our staff, as you can imagine, are very research active. And I just wanted to introduce you to a couple of our more recent appointments in staff. On the right, we have the work of our new program leader for creative writing, Richard Kelly, who's a multiple published novelist, publishes generally with Weba, but has also worked as a publisher and works and has published large numbers of works of non-fiction as well. And on the left of the picture, we have Joe, who is about to be taking over as our program leader in journalism. Joe joined us from Sky Television, where Joe was the entertainment guy. And there's Joe interviewing, as you can see, Meryl Streep, Tom Hanks, and Jennifer Lawrence. If you go to Joe's website, you'll see he basically has worked with every major Hollywood figure. So we're very excited to have Joe with us. I'd like to finally then show you quickly some of our facilities. Sorry, tell you a bit about our employability. We work with a range of, as I said, local cultural organizations, but we also, as a faculty in a university, work with a range of big industries which are based locally or where we have good contacts locally. We have industry advisory panels to support the development of our programs and therefore the development of students. We bring in big corporate speakers. And what we hear from organizations such as 3M, Pfizer, IBM, Fujitsu, are that they're very, very keen on having arts graduates, because in the modern economy, the value of communication and storytelling is absolute. So finally, we'll get on to showing you some of our facilities. That's the main university concord, the main university route. On the right is the building in which I'm currently sitting, where we have our arts faculty offices and do much of our teaching. If we can then move on, I should apologize for the quality of the photos. I took most of these myself. These are our performing arts studios from the outside. And as you can see in the next slide, from the inside, we have really wonderful state-of-the-art performance studios. In total, we have 6 major studios in that building. We also have what we call a black box theatre, a studio theatre in another building. We have absolutely world-beating facilities. These are our media production facilities. We have 2 TV studios and a multimedia edit suite, which you can see in these pictures. And if we move on to the next slide, we'll see our newsroom. Our newsroom, journalism newsroom, was opened a couple of years ago. It's an absolutely wonderful facility, really spectacular facility. If you do go onto our website, you can take virtual tours of these facilities, and they're well worth looking at. Our newsroom, as you can see from the decoration, is very much Winchester based. It's in order to produce Winchester news shows, and we have an online news channel, Winchester News Online, where our journalism students' work goes on a weekly basis through term. These are our wonderful music studios, absolutely state-of-the-art music studios. Many universities get in for studio design people who design university studios, educational designers. For both our journalism studio and our music studio, we worked with a company which has been in studio design business for many years. And the guy who designed our music studio designed John Lennon's own home studio many years ago. So he's an absolutely wonderful designer, and of course the students love it. Next, we will then just show you a little bit more of the campus. These are pictures I took in the summer and in the winter. It's beautiful at all times of year. And of course, the city of Winchester is beautiful at all times of year. As you can see, there again are pictures that I'm afraid I took in Christmas, in the winter, and in the summer. As David mentioned, this all leads up to the point of graduation. We didn't manage a graduation ceremony last year because of COVID, but I just wanted to share with you a couple of pictures from our graduation ceremony the year before. I'm not sure if you recognize either of these figures, but on the right, we have the star of Downton Abbey, the TV series and the movie, who came along and took an honorary doctorate from us, Hugh Bonneville. And on the left, we have, again, taking an honorary doctorate from us, the wonderful Dame Judi Dench, one of Britain's greatest movie stars, perhaps best known for playing M, James Bond's boss in the James Bond films. We are a real centre of culture in Winchester, and so Winchester is a great, great place to come and study the arts. Thank you very, very much. Please don't hesitate to contact me directly if you have any questions or want to continue the conversation. Thank you.
Professor Charles, you did an excellent presentation, astonishing, very interesting, and we learn everyone a lot about this presentation. So thank you very much to be on board with us today and give this very, very interesting presentation. David, thank you as well for follow up with the presentation with Professor Charles.
Richard, that's been a pleasure. And before we go on to Dr. Brown, Alec probably knows this, but one of our most famous Indian students we had at Winchester was the niece of Arundhati Roy, who was a dance student at Winchester when I first joined the university. So we have a legacy here of performing arts students from India. And so for the Indian agents with us today, we would encourage you to look carefully at Alec's presentation, his excellent work that he's done, and to say we are open for business for performing arts students particularly.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, David, and thank you very much, Richard, and thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure talking with you this morning.
Thank you, Professor Charles. We have now 150 agents, so everyone remain during all the presentation of Professor Charles. Very interesting. It means that there's a lot of interest. And now we want to see if we have with us here Dr. Brown. Dr. Brown, let's see if
yes.
it's available.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are
and my
you?
videos come up too, yes. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, welcome. We are now about 2 hours, which we are speaking about in University of Winchester. We had several presentations, started from David Street, and now it's your turn, and we are all looking forward to listen to your presentation. You can start to share the screen if you wish. I don't know how you want to
yes,
end with the
I will
presentation.
do that.
So all the agents who are with us today, please, if you have any question, just go on the chat system and remain on mute modality. This is always Voila. So we are live here. Sometimes happen. Very important. Please remain on mute modality. This is always very, very important. All the agents will receive a copy of the agent's agreement at the end of the workshop, and as well the recorded video of the presentation from today. We can see your presentation, Dr. Brown. We can see everything. We can see the PowerPoint presentation. You can start.
Thank you very much, Richard. So thank you everyone for listening to me today. I am Dr. Hazel Brown, and I'm here to represent the Faculty of Health and Wellbeing. And we are the newest faculty at Winchester, so the youngest of all our faculties. First of all, I'd like to share with you our vision, because our vision underpins the culture that students will experience when they are here. I'm sure you've heard this morning about the university's values, and I can certainly witness that the university does stand by its values. And as one of the statements that university makes about their values, it says that they're a community committed to making a difference, passionate about seeing individuals and communities flourish. And from that, our faculty produced their own vision statement to positively influence the lives of individuals, families, communities, and organizations by translating world-leading research and outstanding educational practice into effective policy and practice. And so that is our vision that we take with us into the classroom. We believe that health and well-being is at the heart of what it is to flourish as an individual. And that's what we aim for all of our students, that when they come to Winchester, they flourish as individuals and are equipped to flourish in their future careers. In our faculty, we deliver the degrees that are highly employability based. We produce students who are, many of whom end up working in the UK in the NHS. Now the NHS has its own set of values, and it doesn't matter whether our students end up working in the NHS or anywhere else in the UK or anywhere else in the world. We think that the values that the NHS and our hospitals have, which you can see listed here on this slide, are relevant and transferable to all places of work and into all social situations. So what we're trying to do is to produce graduates that share these same values that we have and the values that we exemplify at work. I've worked in 7 different universities in the UK over the space of my career, excuse me. And by far, I find Winchester to be the most welcoming and the most supportive university that I've ever worked at. There's a real feeling here of equality between everyone. Everyone is known by their first names, and from the Vice-Chancellor and the Deans, through all the tutors, through all our administrative staff, to our cleaners and our gardeners, we all know each other by our first names. And it gives a wonderful community feeling to the entire campus. So it doesn't matter that the values here on these slides come from the NHS, so the vast majority of the students aren't going to end up working in the NHS, but they're the values that we share and that we promote to all our students. So our faculty has, we like to see it as a number of different cogs working together, supporting each other. The elements work together with our different degree courses. We have things relating to interprofessional studies, sport, exercise and health, and the health professions. I'm going to go through each of these areas with you in a moment. And we'll end up talking about our research group and some of the research that we produce together. Here's the composition of our faculty. We break down into 2 schools. We have the School of Sport, Health and Community, where our sport and exercise degrees are held, and degrees which are relevant to health workers, people who work out in the community with families. We also have the School of Health and Care Professions, and this is where our specific health professions sit. So you can see we do have a higher employability focus within this faculty. First of all, I'd like to talk to you about the School of Sport, Health and Community. Here's a list of the degrees that are within the sport and exercise section of this department. All the degrees that have got the little asterisk by them, they all have professional governing body recognition. So for example, sport and exercise psychology is accredited by the British Psychological Society, so that students who graduate with this degree are on the correct pathway to become accredited psychologists with the British Psychological Society. So not only do students end up with their degree, but they also end up with some sort of professional badging to show that that the curriculum content within their degree is suitable for practice in the industry. Sports therapy is our newest degree, and that's going to start this September. And that is open to all students. All of these degrees are perfectly suitable for students, no matter where they've come from in the world. We do have some excellent sporting facilities at University of Winchester. We have our own sports grounds, which are a short walk away from the main campus. And they are right next door to the brand new Winchester Sport and Leisure Centre, which has a 50-metre swimming pool, so an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And this Sport and Leisure Centre was always due to open this spring. I see that their website still says they're due to open this spring. I imagine there's been a slight delay due to COVID, as people have had to had enforced distancing. But I am convinced that this leisure centre will be open well before September, when our students arrive for the new year. And it is down there that our sports therapy degree is going to be situated. We're building brand new resources for them down. It's called Bar End, that section of our campus, Bar End campus. But again, all of these degrees are highly employability focused, and we therefore have specialist facilities. We have a physiology laboratory, and we have a biomechanics laboratory. There's a small photograph here of our biomechanics laboratory. We have a strength and conditioning laboratory, and that's what this top photograph is showing you. And we also have a specialist laboratory for our psychology students, and also our own computer suite, where we have all our own specialist software. So this particular computer suite is reserved specifically for our students to ensure that they have access to all the software programs that they require. In the health section of Sport, Health, Community, we have a BA in International Development Global Health. I know that David spoke to you earlier about our master's course in global health, but we have this undergraduate one that feeds into it. Starting this September, we have Nutrition and Dietetics degree. This is specifically focused for students wishing to enter a career in dietetics. And this particular degree is very focused towards serving the National Health Service within the United Kingdom. Therefore, students who are applying for nutrition and dietetics would need to be able to show that they are intending on a career based in the UK, and that they are eligible to work in the UK. Whereas our nutrition degree, which doesn't start till September 2022, is open to everyone. And we are seeking accreditation for this degree so that people will become accredited nutritionists and be able to work anywhere in the world with that degree. And also we have biomedical science, which we are opening in September 2022, open to everyone. And that again will be seeking accreditation from the professional body for biomedical scientists for that particular degree. In our next section of the School of Sport, Health and Community, we have our community ones, so health and social care, health and social care including some disability studies, childhood and youth, health and wellbeing, incredibly relevant, as I say, in COVID times, health and wellbeing, and our global health degree. And also we're starting a new animal science degree. We already have a master's in animal welfare, and so this undergraduate degree will be its partner, if you like, but this is going to be an online degree. So students could remain in their own country, but study totally online for this particular undergraduate course. Now, it could be when we, it could be that in future, we're told this is very popular, that we have to deliver it on campus. But at the moment, the plan is to deliver it completely online, and that will start in September 2021. Then we have the School of Health and Care Professions. And this is where our degrees that lead directly to careers in the NHS are housed. Of course, if you're qualifying in any of these degrees, it's a great qualification for working as a basis for working anywhere in the world. But these degrees do have a particular emphasis on working in the NHS, and therefore students applying for these degrees we would be wanting them to show that they have the intention of working in the UK, and that they are have the clearance to work in the UK in the future. So Occupational Therapy is our latest degree within the School of Health and Care Professions, and that starts this autumn 2021 in September. And we also have undergraduate and postgraduate and MSc in social work that sits in this school. We have all 4 fields of nursing. We have lots of adult nursing students come here. We have more limited places for child nursing, mental health and learning disabilities. The number of places that we're able to offer are highly dependent or totally dependent on the number of placement opportunities that students can take relatively locally to us. So all of these degrees have placements, work placements, where students have to spend many weeks out in the workplace, learning on the job. And they're also assessed in the workplace. So they could have to travel for these. So we have a hospital right next door to us. So students are always very pleased to get a placement in the hospital that is possibly just 20 meters from their own front door. But others have to travel a little bit wider to other hospitals because you have to take your placements in a variety of different health settings, so that to ensure that you get the training, the breadth of training for your degree course. But nothing tends to be more than a 1 to 1.5 hour journey away maximum from campus.
Dr. Hazel, just a quick question here, because this is a very interesting program and we have got a lot of queries coming for nursings and health and social care. So this work experience, as you mentioned, what I was aware is a 6 months theory, a 6 months practical in NHS, number 1. And number 2, are these work placement paid or they are just volunteered?
No, you don't get paid for the placements because it's considered part of the education. So in fact, we have to pay our placement providers to take our students because they're giving up their time to train the students on the job, and they have to fill in lots of paperwork for them as well.
But that's a good thing that they are getting experience indirectly in NHS, and in future they got a lot of job opportunities to be get the job within the NHS itself. Thank you, yes. Thank you, Doctor.
So over the course of the 3 years, the students would have to tend to take about 1,000 hours of placement in physiotherapy, in nursing. I'm not sure of the hours in social work, to be honest, but I can find that out, and it will be on the website. It's less hours, obviously, on an MSc because they couldn't possibly fit in 1,000 hours over the course of time here. So that's the School of Health and Care Professions. As I say, on the previous slide, we had the health and social care. Health and social care will include work placements. That might only be up to say 110 hours of work placement within there. And again, but that health and social care degree is open to absolutely anyone. There's no limit on how many international students we could take on health and social care. And health and social care is an excellent degree for leading into all of the other health degrees. If people are a bit uncertain about what type of health degree, health profession they might want, then health and social care is a great degree to pick up in the first place. We do have other postgraduate degrees within our faculty. We have a Master's in Research in Sport and Exercise and a Master's in Research in Health Science. And I think the Master's in Research in Health Science could be of great interest, possibly, to our overseas students. We know that many overseas students come here to study in the health sciences. The asterisks are here because these 2 degrees can be studied totally online. So you can get your Master's in Research by remaining in your own country and studying online. On campus, we deliver an MSc in Applied Sports Psychology. Again, the MSc in Global Health. Actually, the MSc in Global Health is also offered online, as is our MSc in Animal Welfare Science, Ethics and Law. This particular degree has been running for several years now, and is incredibly popular with overseas students because it can be studied completely online. Also, the university offers MPhil and PhD positions, and our faculty is registered for MPhil and PhD doctoral students. I think it's probably worth just mentioning at that point, because a lot of people questioned about IELTS, didn't they? You need IELTS 6.5 for a postgraduate degree, which includes a 5.5 in academic writing. So that's the entry requirements for our postgraduate degrees: IELTS 6.5, 5.5 in academic writing. And again, our applied sports psychology degree is accredited by the British Psychological Association. What we wanted to do with our sports psychology degrees was to supply a route way through that students could take all of their qualifications with us, that leads to being a registered psychologist with the British Psychological Society. Next thing I want to talk to you about was the research that takes place in our faculty, because I know that many students will look at the research profiles of a university before deciding which one to choose. So we are either currently working in or developing community GP education, sport and exercise medicine, individualized medicine, and plant-based nutrition. We have short courses in many of these things, and that people might want to put a foot in the water, if you like. They can register for one of these short courses and study online from their own home and get a taste of what it might be like to study with Winchester. And these are advertised on our website. The plant-based nutrition course has been proved particularly popular, and I know that once it was launched, it was completely booked up for its current delivery and its future deliveries. But I'm sure there are places now to get on plant-based nutrition. These various logos coming up now are all the organizations that we've been working with in terms of research. So for example, Dr. James Belzy has been collaborating with the University of Luxembourg and with CHR Clinique Dec, and they've been looking at bone grafts for knee surgery, and how inserting, if you look at this X-ray photo here, how inserting a particular style of a graft inside the knee joint can help with post-surgical recovery. And they've been doing a lot of work in that. We also have collaboration with lots of various health organizations within Hampshire and the local areas. We're currently undertaking research with these. We're comparing how quickly people can return to sport, patients who've undergone particular knee surgery with and without various particular bone grafts. So investigating patients' decisions to return to exercise and physical activity after having surgery. We have Dr. Amanda Lees who works with us. She has funding working in pediatric infectious diseases and in immunology. That's in conjunction with Southampton hospitals. We have researchers looking at exploration of equality and diversity issues amongst trainees in health work. We've been looking at support for Asperger's syndrome, for supporting doctors who have Asperger's syndrome, and inquiries into clinical thinking and development of trainees in postgraduate medical education. That's with Health Education England, Wessex. And we've also been looking at stress, prevention of harmful stress with doctors. We undertake stroke research, urology research, research with prostate enlargement. And we've also looked at singing on dementia workers and using singing in care homes to improve health and well-being amongst residents. So that's been a particularly different type of research. But yeah, so those are the organisations, some of the organisations that we've been doing, and just a taste of some of the research that goes on here. We have our own Help Hampshire organisation, and our students help us in this. We provide opportunities for our students to volunteer and come and be research assistants with us on all these things. And so Help Hampshire is a particularly local program where we work with university staff and students to improve the lifestyles of recovering stroke patients. So we have a lot of stroke patients in the UK, and we find that perhaps their advice on leaving hospital about lifestyle changes is possibly not as rich as it could be, and therefore we're trying to provide that lifestyle education to help their rehabilitation from stroke and for avoiding another stroke. So that's some very interesting research undertaken here. So, a flavour of the culture in our particular faculty: big ideas, flourishing people, better world. And we encourage our students to be the difference on their graduation. Thank you very much for listening.
Dr. Brown, it was excellent. Thank you very much indeed.
Presentation. Thank you very much. It was very impressive to understand and admire all the work that you're doing on the backside. I know how difficult it is in this special moment of the COVID. So thank you very much to bring us on board this information, and to all the agents worldwide. We have more than 100 agents with us who are listening about your presentation. So David, I hope that you are well. We are continuing with the presentation.
I've still got Hazel's screen in front of me, Richard.
Yes.
Before Dr. Hazel goes, there's a quick question, Dr. Hazel, for you from one of the agents regarding the international students who do MSc Occupational Therapy program. Is the university helping in the process of registration with the professional bodies, not only for occupational therapists, but also for NMC nurses? Do the university help in that, Hazel, please?
So sorry, our MSc programs were you talking about?
No, we're talking about your MSc Occupational Therapy program, for an example. So do the university help in the registration process with the professional bodies within the UK to continue to work as an occupational therapist, or for nurses, for NMC registration, do the university assist in that one as well?
So our MSc in occupational therapy is a brand new degree that we're starting this September, and it is to be accredited by the professional body for occupational therapists. So it will accredit people to work in the UK in the NHS, but also to set up in private practice. So if students wanted to set up their own private business, they could do so. This degree is actually has just been validated here, and I don't have the full information about it, but I can give you the name of the program leader so that anyone who wants to ask any specific questions of the program leader can do so. Shall I put her email address in the chat, David? Should I do that?
Send it to me, Hazel, and I'll send it to the agents later on. Yeah?
Okay, thank you very much, David. I'm sorry I wasn't able to fully answer that question.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Hazel, that was excellent. Thank you very much indeed. So, Richard, I think we now have the highlights of the morning,
Exactly.
which will be our international students.
Yes, I can see we have some international students with us today. Let's see if the students are available. At the moment, I think we have one student named Elizabeth.
We should have Karina, Tyrell, Keenan, and Safinor certainly with us this morning. Are you guys here? If you want to unmute yourself and take your camera on the camera, we can see who you are.
I'm here. Hello.
Hey, Keenan, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Keenan, where are you at the moment?
I'm currently at Winchester in my rented house.
And where are you from, Keenan?
I'm from Indonesia, and I am studying in Winchester in my third year as a creative writing student.
So, Keenan, can you tell us a little bit about your time at Winchester? Can you a little bit about maybe your housing, your life in Winchester, what the place is like?
Absolutely. So I came to Winchester back in 2018, and coming from a place so far away and very different from here culturally, it was quite a culture shock in a bit sometimes, but you adapt sometimes. I settled in one of the accommodations provided in by university my first year, called Queens Road Student Village, and I'd say for the price and facilities wise, it was a great choice for me. And luckily for me, the flatmates there were great too. And as a matter of fact, to this day, I still live with them, but in a house nearby, in an area called Stanmore, which is not so far from university. I would say about 20-30 minutes walk there. But yeah, 3 years of my time in Winchester, I had quite a great time studying, thanks to the very helpful facilities the university provides, and the leisure facilities universities provide. Currently, due to COVID, it's been quite difficult, and I'm sure most students feel the exact same way. However, thankfully, the library is still open. Therefore, I could still have that university experience in some sort of way. And I usually spend my times in the music room as well, in the piano room, just to take off some weight. And yeah, currently I'm just working on my last few assignments and my dissertation, and yeah, that's pretty much.
A little bit in our presentation to our partners about the small group culture environment at Winchester, where we try and have smaller teaching groups where the students can have a voice. Has that been your experience too?
Yeah. I wasn't sure how many students were there in creative writing when I came, but it reminded me of my old school back in secondary school, how there wasn't that many students in one class. Although when I was looking at the online register, there was much more people there, and I was surprised. It felt much more interactive. You felt included, and personally, all my tutors, all my lecturers, they've been very helpful to me, in which they are they make in creative writing, at least, they make everyone proactive, and whenever you email them, they will email you back as fast as they could, and honestly, they are very helpful, especially for someone like me from Indonesia.
That's interesting, because creative writing, like business, one of the biggest courses we do, we have 200 students a year on creative writing, and yet the classes are pretty small, so it's first name terms only. So that's really helpful. Keenan, thank you for that. Is Tyrrell here this morning? Tyrrell, are you here?
Hello.
Hi, Tyrrell, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Could you turn your camera on so we can see you, Tyrrell?
My camera is on. Can you not see me?
Richard, can we bring Tyrrell up?
But we cannot hear you well. You have to put a little bit more voice.
See, that way.
That's perfect.
Hear me now?
Tyrrell, how are you? How are you this morning?
I'm good. Headphones now working, apparently.
Tyrrell, can you tell a bit about where you're from, what you're doing, your life at Winchester?
Yeah, I'm from Norway. I study musical theater. And yeah, I'm now currently in Winchester. I'm back too. I've been lucky enough to have some classes online, not online, for the past couple of weeks. So that's been lovely. Still COVID safe, but it's nice to be back on campus.
You mentioned safety, Tyrrell. One of the biggest questions all our partners have when they're sending students to the UK and to universities is the safety and the welfare of their students. Can you say something about your life in Winchester, and how do you feel safe? Do you feel threatened? What the place is like?
Oh, I definitely feel safe here because it's quite a small town. So you do feel safe because you do know the city quite well, quite quickly, like compared to what you would do in bigger cities. And it's just everyone here is quite friendly, so you don't feel threatened by them. And then Winchester is one of the safest cities to live in the UK, and that definitely helps. And we have security all day long on campus as well, so that helps, and you can see them.
For the benefit of our partners, Tyrrell will be our head international ambassador next year. And what she and Keenan and the other ambassadors do at the moment is quite interesting. They're also part of a campaign we're running where they're in touch with the students who have applied to Winchester for September. So in addition to the agents helping their students and the staff, myself and my colleagues helping the students, Tyrrell and the rest of the team of ambassadors are also reaching out to students who are studying or going to study at Winchester. We think that's really helpful, because there's who better to talk about life at Winchester as a student than a student. So Tyrrell, you've been living on campus for the first year particularly, like Keenan did. How was that for you?
It was very nice. I lived in Queens Road as well. And yeah, I shared a flat with 7 other people, which was very nice. The rooms are quite modern. Every accommodation on this campus is quite modern as well. And they're very good sized rooms as well. So you do have enough space to like live in and study without like working on your bed, which is very nice.
We got kind of leading question for each other. Do you feel like a Norwegian student here or a Winchester student?
Should I take your quote that you're not a Norwegian student? You're a Winchester student from Norway. I mean, there is a lot of truth in that when you say that. Yeah, definitely. I feel like a Winchester student, but I am from Norway.
Richard, I think Karina's here as well this morning. Karina, are you here this morning?
Hello.
Hi, Karina, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Karina, I mean, we talked a little bit about safety on campus and housing on campus. Can you tell a little bit about interaction with the student support at Winchester, about your time as a student and how that works?
It has been really helpful. Because of COVID, I've had some struggles mentally and had to retake my first year, but I've had a lot of support from both my module leaders and the people on there, and get help to study there while also being in contact with student services, which is really helpful as a little bit of anxious person in a different country, it has really been helpful. And I'm currently on my last day of quarantine. So tomorrow I'll go back into Winchester to enjoy the city again.
Talking about enjoying the city, I mean, Winchester, some people live in cities that are like urban ghettos. Would you say that Winchester's like an urban ghetto or not?
No, I would not. If it weren't for such a modern population, I could still dream that I was in one of Jane Austen's novels. I study English literature, so for me that's pretty big, but it's super cool, and I really like it because we're close to Southampton, so we can go and travel to a bigger city if something if we need to. Well, not now currently, but usually. And now it's more, but you can be in a smaller place at the same time, so you're away from the city, but it's quite easily accessible.
I mean, Keenan said that one of the things he likes here is his first name terms, that the small group culture means everybody has a voice. Is that your experience?
Yeah, I was really scared because I'm from Norway, so we have always been on first name basis with the teachers. So I was scared to start using Mrs. and Mrs. and Mr. But then I realized, oh, it's first term basis, so it feels just as going to school in Norway, which was really nice, and it feels personal. And our lecturers are usually around 90 people that are in them, but when we go to the seminars, we are around 10 to 15, which is really nice.
Thank you so much, Karina. That's really, really helpful. I think we've also got Safinor with us this morning.
Yeah, hey.
Hey, Safinor, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Can you tell a little bit about where you're from, Safinor, your background maybe, and your life at Winchester?
Yeah, I'm from Norway, and my family is from Pakistan. And it's my first year at Winchester University. I'm studying psychology, and it has been very great. And the university is very small, and the campus is very good. The facilities is very, very nice. And I really enjoyed my first year, even that COVID really destroyed the whole year for me, but it was good. And I'm currently in Winchester. Yeah.
So a lot of our partners here this morning are from Pakistan, Bangladesh, India. I mean, obviously you're a Norwegian student with a Pakistani heritage. How has that been at Winchester for you?
It has been very nice because the people here is so nice, and they don't like judge you for who you are, and I feel very welcome here. And to be in Pakistan, I really feel that it is my village from Pakistan. The nature here is so like Pakistan, and I really enjoy it here. And I feel like a Winchester people, even I'm from Norway and from Pakistan, so I really feel it that it is my town, and I feel like a very welcome student here.
That's so helpful. Thank you for that. Is there anybody else here as a student that I've not brought in yet? I think, guys, thank you so much for this morning. I mean, I know it's a brief introduction to life at Winchester as an international student, but I think it's really helpful for our partners to see and put a name to a face, or a face to a name, and to see our own students and get an understanding of what it's like to be a student at Winchester. So thank you so much this morning for your contribution. Richard, if it's okay with you, I think Nabil's very keen to talk about visas, and I'm pretty sure that most of our partners will be very keen to hear about visas as well.
Yes, but first of all, I would like to say thank you to the students here with us, because the voice of the students is for me very important, and as well for all the partners with us today, because we can hear that the students feel comfortable to study at the University of Winchester, happy students, and this is very important. This is the win-win of everything. When we see happy students, I always say this is the most important thing, and all the rest, it comes secondary. So thank you very much for all the 4 students to be with us today and to share your experience about study at the University of Winchester. And I would like to welcome Mr. Nabil Noor, who will now give us a complete explanation about the new student route for the United Kingdom and additional information. So ladies and gentlemen, please remain with us today, because this is the most important part as well for you when you enroll the students. So Nabil, please, you can start. We can see your presentation.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Nabil Noor, and I'm part of the international recruitment team at the University of Winchester. So I work with David Street, and I look after recruitment from Africa, the Middle East, the Indian subcontinent, international students who are based in the UK, and some other countries as well. So my remit covers quite a lot of countries. I also support Weba with the agents who work within the Weba umbrella as well, and support them with the application process and guidance and so on. And my presentation today, if I can just have the next slide, please. Thank you. So my presentation today is going to be about the new student route. So formerly it was called Tier 4, and I think most of you will be very familiar with the Tier 4 system. The student route is the new system. There are some similarities, but also quite a few differences as well. So what is the new student route? So the new student route is a point-based visa system for all international students, including EU and EEA. Now this is quite new now, who want to study in the UK. It replaces the Tier 4 visa system. So the Tier 4 visa system no longer applies, it's out, and we have the new student route. And because of Brexit, we have many new countries now where students will have to apply for a student visa. So all the EU countries like France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and so on, and EEA countries like Norway, they didn't have to apply for a student visa before, but now, because of Brexit, they will do as well. So if I just have the next one, please. So how does the system work? The system is a point-based system, and it is 70 points, which is different from the current system. So please keep in mind, the new system is actually 70 points now. Next, please. So the majority of the points are allocated towards the confirmation of acceptance of studies. Most of you will know it as a CAS. And this is exactly the same as now. There's no change. The CAS system is the same with Tier 4 as it is with the student route. Next, please. So as with the Tier 4, universities will continue to issue a CAS to students who have been given an unconditional offer of study. So the vast majority of weight in terms of the points falls on the CAS, and that will responsibility for that will fall onto the university. And I will talk a lot more about that later on in my presentation. So next slide, please. So then we have 10 points to cover the financial requirements. Next, please. And that works as follows. Now, this is very important. Now, applicants need to provide evidence that they can afford the tuition fees, which for Winchester, our average courses cost around 13,800. Some courses are slightly cheaper, some are more expensive, but 13,800 will be the most common and the average one. And living costs of 1,023 times 9 months for 1 year. Now, let me just elaborate a little bit on that. So the tuition fees are 13,800 on average. Now, the 1,023 per month is set by the Home Office. It's set by the government. It's not something that the university has made a decision on. So this is set by the government, and the government have two different levels. One is for students living in London, and there it is much higher. And for students living outside of London. For students living outside of London, according to the Home Office, they need £1,023 per month. And in order to apply for the visa and show maintenance, it is for 9 months. So if you have any student who wants to apply to the UK, whether it's for a master's, which is 12 months, or whether it's a 3-year undergraduate, they need to show 9,207, which basically is for 9 months, no matter how long the course is. So do keep that in mind. For a master's course, although it might be 12 months, they only have to show living costs for 9 months. Right, next, please. So what can the students deduct when they actually apply for their visa in terms of their finances? One thing they can deduct is the deposit that students have to pay when they apply for the CAS. In order for the university to issue a CAS, the student has to pay a deposit of £2,000. Now that obviously has already been paid to the university, so therefore that can be deducted from the total amount of finance requirement when they apply for their visa. Next, please. Another amount that can be deducted is any amount that they have paid towards accommodation on campus. And according to the Home Office, the maximum amount to be deducted is 1,265. So it is important, please explain to your students that they should not really pay more than this amount. If they pay more than that, this is the maximum amount that can be deducted when they need to show funds in their bank statement when they apply for their visa. So even if a student has paid £4,000, they cannot deduct 4,000, they can only deduct 1,265. Again, this is a rule from the Home Office, not from the university. In addition, if a student is coming to Winchester and they decide to live with family nearby, let's say Southampton, which is only 15 minutes by train or whatever, they have to show all the living costs. They cannot make any deductions for accommodation because they're living with friends or family. The Home Office doesn't allow that. So there's no deduction allowed for living with family. Next, please. Then we can also deduct any scholarships. Now, the university has a very generous scholarship package that we offer to students, depending on the course they're coming on. Let's say for the MBA, the scholarship is £3,000, as we explained early on in the presentation by David when he talked about the MBA. The scholarship there is £3,000, so that can be deducted from the tuition fee and therefore the amount of money that the student has to show when they apply for their visa. Next slide, please. So that covers the financial maintenance side of things and tuition fees. The next and the final 10 points are allocated towards English language requirements. Next, please. Now, the level of English required will be the same as with Tier 4. So the same applies now as it applied in the past, where students need a minimum of 5.5 in each component of the 4 Ielts. So listening, speaking, writing, and listening must be at least 5.5 in each element. It cannot be lower than that. University of Winchester, we don't give really an Ielts waiver. So we insist on Ielts or any other CELT. So next slide, please. So if a student needs to take one of the Home Office's approved secure English language test, which is referred to as a CELT, as evidence of English language ability, then the CELT must show that they have achieved the required score in each of the 4 components during a single sitting of the exam. So if you go on the Home Office website, there is a link at the end of my presentation. You will be able to see all the approved English language exams that are accepted for visa purposes. So IELTS obviously is on there. You also have PTE Pearson is on there. Now I had on the live chat several questions about Duolingo. Duolingo at the moment is not on the approved list from the Home Office. So even if we as a university say, yeah, okay, we can accept Duolingo for admission purposes, later on when we come to the visa stage, there will be a problem. So therefore, we as a university, we would normally only accept the same qualification that the Home Office accept for admission as well. Otherwise, the student will get an unconditional offer based on Duolingo, and then later on when they apply for the visa, they may have a problem. So in terms of university entry requirements for English language will be the same as the list on the Home Office, which the link is later on in my presentation. Next, please. So does the student route allow students to work in the UK? This is obviously one of the main questions that students ask is, when I come and study, can I also work part-time? Next, please. So for students coming in who are studying a degree or at master's level, the students are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week, and they're allowed to work unlimited hours outside of semester time. So during the summer holidays or any other vacations when there's no teaching, the students can work unlimited hours, but during the semester, there's a maximum of 20 hours. That is the same as with Tier 4. There's no change there with the new student route. Next, please. Now, for some reason, I'm not sure why, the Home Office have reduced the working hours for foundation program. So for foundation program students, which we also refer to as year 0, students are only allowed to work up to a maximum of 10 hours per week during term time. But then during the holidays, they can work unlimited hours. Next slide, please. So how much does the new student route cost? So the student route application from outside of the UK is £348. And for within the UK, it's 475. So you may have an international student in the UK at the moment who is doing a bachelor degree in undergraduate program at another university and wants to come and study at Winchester for an MBA or another postgraduate program. Or you may have a student who's studying a foundation program in the UK and wants to come and do a bachelor degree. They will have to apply and pay $475 if they apply from within the UK. If they go back home to their country and apply from there, it will be slightly cheaper. Next slide, please. Now, in some countries, not all, the British High Commission or the British Embassy offer an express visa service. Now, this is especially important for students who are applying late in summer. So, for example, students who are doing A-levels, which is the British system, and they get the results only by middle of August, they may need to apply for their visa later in August, because you can only apply for your visa once you have your results. Sometimes you get students applying or changing their mind about another university and coming to us last minute, in which case they may need to pay extra in order to have an express visa service. Now, the fees for that are different according to different countries, so I'm not listing them here. So please check with your British Embassy or British High Commission in your country to see what these additional charges would be for a speedy or express visa application service. We encourage students to apply as early as possible. So maybe by June, July, rather than later, so that they don't have to pay these additional charges. Next, please. Now, the visa application will also have the immigration health surcharge. Now, students have to pay for this. This is in order to have access to medical care, hospitals, GP in the UK whilst they're studying. The American system is the same. You also have to pay for that when you go to the US. In the UK, it is £470 per year. So if a student is coming in for a master's course, they will only pay 470 when they apply for their visa, because this has to be paid in advance when they apply for their visa. Now, if a student is coming for a 3-year undergraduate course, this is multiplied by 3. So it's quite a large amount of money to pay upfront, but do keep that in mind. Next, please. Now, every university will have a slightly different visa and CAS process. Now, in terms of University of Winchester, this is how it works with us. Next, please. One of the key things is once a student has decided, that's it, I want to go to University of Winchester, this is where I want to study, they need to accept their offer of a place on UCAS. All applications made to Winchester are made through UCAS Undergraduate or UCAS Postgraduate. So once they receive the unconditional offer, they need to go on UCAS or U on their behalf and accept that offer. This is important because our admission system is linked with the CAS system. So if the student does not accept our offer, they may hold an unconditional offer, but they have not accepted it. If they don't accept it on UCAS, the CAS cannot be generated. Next, please. The next step for the student, once they've accepted their place on UCAS, is to pay £2,000 tuition fee deposit. That is in order for the university to generate the CAS for them. And they can pay either online through the online portal. There's an online store, we call it. There's a link as well that we can provide you with, or they can do a bank transfer. Without that £2,000 deposit, we're not going to issue a CAS. Next, please. The CAS application form has to be completed. So either the student completes it or you as the agent complete it on their behalf and send it to us. At the end of my presentation, there's a link to our CAS application form. So that needs to be completed and emailed to us in order for us to generate the CAS. Next, please. In most cases, I would say applications that we receive from agents through UCAS, there will already be a copy of the passport. There will already be copies of their qualifications, whether it's 10th mark sheet, 12th mark sheet, or their degree certificate and transcripts. But sometimes we don't have that. So please ensure that when the student applies for their CAS, that the university has a copy of the passport, either already sent earlier, or if not, then maybe send it at that stage. We cannot issue a CAS if we don't have a copy of the passport, because we have to make sure that the passport number is correct on the CAS letter, that the name is spelled exactly the same as on the CAS letter, and so on. So next, please. We also need you to check that their finances and their bank statements are verified. So because we work with Weba and the agents that work through the Weba umbrella, we expect you to actually check the student's financial background and make sure that all the bank statements are okay. Now, we as a university, normally, we would not ask for copies of bank statements, but we may do in some circumstances. For example, if the student has already had a visa refusal in the past, so for us, that would be a risk for that student because they've already had a visa refusal, then we may ask you to forward to us these bank documents and bank statements so that we can check them as well. Next, please. So once all that is done, the next thing is once you've submitted the visa, the CAS form, the CAS deposit has been paid, we've got passport copies, we've got everything. Once all that is with us, then it will take us normally 5 working days to actually generate the CAS. So please don't send us everything on a Friday and then expect on Monday to have the CAS. We need 5 working days to do that. Next, please. The CAS will be sent by email to you. So whether if you're working with Weba, it will be sent to Weba or whatever, it'll go to whoever has submitted the CAS form and has liaised with us, and we will send it to you, but we ask you please to check it as well. because there is such a thing as human error. People make mistakes. And sometimes, especially with some foreign names, we might misspell the name, or maybe the passport number, there's one digit which is not correct, or something like that. So please, when we send the CAS, before you forward it to the student or before you submit the visa file, do check that all the information on the CAS is correct, because we can make amendments at that stage. As long as you have not sent the visa file, as long as you have not submitted the visa application or used the CAS, we can make changes to it. Once you've submitted the visa application, it is much more difficult to update the system. Okay, so please do check and let us know if any changes need to be made to the CAS statement. Next, please. Now, please also make sure that the funds, so as I mentioned earlier, that's the amount of money the student has to show on their bank statements, less any deposits, scholarships, or whatever that they have paid in advance. They must have this money in their account for 28 days. We call that a matured amount. So we've had visa refusals where the money was only there for 27 days. We had visa refusals in the past where, because of currency fluctuation, where for some reason the pound suddenly went up, then the amount of money in local currency will be insufficient. So do keep these things in mind. Do keep things like currency fluctuations in mind, the number of days that the money has been in the account. Now, the money has to be in the account for 28 days untouched. Money cannot come in and out of the account. For 28 days, the money has to be sat there. Okay, so next, please. So please ensure that no further payments for tuition or accommodation are made once the visa application has been submitted. Like I mentioned earlier, once you submit the visa file, we as a university, it's very difficult for us to update the system if any further payments are made. So if a student has paid a £2,000 deposit, they submit the visa file, and then suddenly they decide to send us another £10,000, we cannot update that on the CAS easily. It's very difficult for us to do so. So please ensure that once the visa is submitted, the visa file is submitted, no further payments are made. Okay, thank you. Next. Please do keep the university updated with regards to the visa application. You would assume that the university would know when the student is issued with their visa. You would think that the Home Office would tell us. They don't. So please, once you know that the student has been successful and the good news, then do please email us and let us know. Sometimes it's very helpful if you can actually send us a picture or a scanned copy of the visa page in their passport, so that we
Sorry,
can.
the line is very bad today.
I'm sorry?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Sorry, the line is really bad. Yeah.
Richard, you need to control, please. Yes, Nabil, you can continue, please.
You can continue, Nabil. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on mute modality. Nabil Naur is giving a presentation at the moment. You have to unmute yourself, Nabil. You have to unmute yourself, Nabil.
Changed it, yeah. I'm okay now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, hold on. Yeah, we're here now. So please keep the university updated with regards to visa application. Do send us a copy with the good news, lots of smiley faces that the student has actually got their visa. This is always a win-win for us, for you and the student. When they actually get the visa, it's the final hurdle before they come to Winchester. We know it's a very stressful time for everybody until then. So do give us the good news when it happens. Don't stay silent when the student gets their visa and assume that we know all about it. We don't. So do keep in touch and let us know when visas are successful. And do also let us know if it is unsuccessful. Hopefully we won't have many cases like this. As a university, we actually have very, very few visa refusals. I think last year we only had 1 or 2 visa refusals for the whole university. So we are very, very good at this. And this is where our expertise and support comes in very handy with you. So next, please. So finally, yeah, just put them all in. That's it. I think there's one more. Yeah. So these are all the links. So you've got a couple of links there for the UK government, Home Office. One is general about the student visa, the new student visa routes. The next one talks about the finances and the money. That's always very, very important. And the next one is on UCAS, because you will be submitting all the applications on UCAS or through the Weba system. They have their own information on the UCAS website, which is actually very helpful as well. And finally, there's the CAS request form. So as I mentioned earlier on, in order for the university to issue a CAS, we will need a CAS form to be completed. Here's the link. Just click on it. There's the form, fill out the information, send it to us or Weba or whoever, and then we'll take it from there. I think this takes me to the end. Just, I think one more. I think this is, yeah, next slide. Yeah, that takes me to the end. So thank you so much for allowing me to talk to your wonderful family, Weba family of agents. And I think we're now open for questions. Am I right, Richard?
Yes, Nabil, I think during these 3 hours, we had many questions from agent, and Donna reply all the different questions that came in, and as well Bajinder. So I think we are up to date with all the questions. I think you had you gave an excellent presentation. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
Route. David Street, how are you?
I'm fine, Richard. And 2 quick things. Elton, we can still see your screen, so that'll be great. And also, as Baljin has made a point a number of times on the chat, we are going to send copies of all these presentations to all of you partners this morning. So Baljinder will have a copy of every presentation, mine, now Bill's, the academic presentations. They will all be posted to you, so you can actually go through the information again at your own pace to understand exactly what it was we were saying to you this morning. So if you have got questions about the presentations, you will be getting them in the next couple of days, of course.
Thank you, David. Yes, we will send today, later by tomorrow, an email to all the agents who attend the workshop today from the University of Winchester, which will include, of course, a copy of each presentation. It will include a copy of the recorded presentation from today. It will be a YouTube link. And then, of course, a copy of the agent's agreement, which you will need to sign, and you need to upload this on the Weba portal. When we receive your agreement, you will receive an additional email from us, which include all the details how to apply your students for the University of Winchester. Of course, myself, my team, and all the team from the University of Winchester will be here to supporting you, to support your students. So we are now in a good time. We are on the 21st of April. Very important now, if you have students, start to enroll them now, because it's a good time, April, May, to enroll your student for the next bachelor and master program. So I think it was a very, very interesting presentation today. We learned a lot. We had a very interesting presenter from the University of Winchester, beside David, as well, all the team who gave the presentation today, and with Nabil at the end. Thank you, Bajinder. You did a very good introduction early in the morning when we started. And I would like to thank all the agents who remained with us until the end. I think it was a long, long workshop today. Very, very interesting, but you will receive a copy of this. So sometimes if you don't know something, just go back to the video, have a look maybe, and this will help you to understand when you're missing some questions. Maybe, David, you want to give a final speech about the presentation?
David, if you can just add one answer to the question, sorry to interrupt, regarding the installment of the fees in your final presentation.
Of course. Well, basically, as Richard has already said, we're in a really good time of the year now. We're in April. We are most definitely open for business for this September and beyond. We know that for most of your markets, this is the hot time of the year when students start thinking about studying abroad. So we expect that in June and July is most of our time spent dealing with the visa processes. Term starts in September this year. Arrivals is September the 11th. When students arrive, they'll be already registered at the university. They'll pay their tuition fees. Some will pay it in one installment in September. Some will pay it in 2 installments in September and in the new year. But if students do want to pay their tuition fees in 2 equal installments, they must contact the university first and get that clearance from the university. 99 times out of 100, it's agreed, but it's just to be sure that everything's okay. The university welcomes applications from new partners. We work closely with our friends at Weba as a joint platform, as the workshop was this morning, so the agent workshop is, and so the agent agreements are. So we work as a triangle with the partner and Weba and Winchester. Both Weba and Winchester are here to answer questions, to support your applications to the university. For those of you who've got a lot of experience of working with British universities, it's probably refreshing to have a university you can approach and will answer your questions for you. And for those of you who are new to the UK university environment, you are in very safe hands. Weba know exactly what they're doing, and with experienced staff like Elton, Donna, and Nabil with me at the university, we are most definitely open for business. So Richard, Baljinder, and also, of course, to my colleagues who've joined me this morning, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. We normally do workshops in person, and let's hope the next time we do an agents workshop, we can welcome you all to Winchester, and we'll take you for a meal and we'll show you the campus and meet the students. But for the moment, under COVID, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you all, and I look forward to speaking to many of you, I hope, over the next few months. Richard, Baljinder particularly, and my amazing colleagues, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the agents to join us today. We are business partner now, and when we sign up the agreement, we are business partner. We have to work together to make sure that you have a successful student who will receive a visa. So we will make sure that your students will get the visa, because this is very important. In the end of the day, you will need to get your commission for your hard work. So again, thank you very much, everyone, to join. Thank you, Baljinder, for your support as usual. Thank you, David. Thank you, Nabil. Thank to all the agents. Stay safe, and we are looking forward for one of the next workshops in the future. And remember, every week we will have a training session about the University of Winchester for all the agents who have some additional questions about the application process, etc. We will send this information as well tomorrow, so that you are able to join us on the training session for the University of Winchester. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Thanks to the students at Winchester. You will give us a very good impression.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Thank you very much. Thank you, David. Thank you, Richard. Entire Winchester team and the big patient team of agents around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Baljinder.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye, David.